Hello everyone, welcome back to the Malevolent Sun. As the true sun sets, so too must the malevolent sun rise. New slogan I'm working on. I'm just trying it out. Today, we will be completing the short line of side quests that lead to the Kraken fight, because that's a prerequisite for Crab Alley, and we will be completing Crab Alley itself. We'll only be doing the first part of Crab Alley, so up to the Deep Warrens. As I've mentioned before, Deep Warrens is going to have its own video, so we're doing Crab Alley, Kraken, and we'll do Deep Warrens later. I do not have a guest with me today, so for better or worse, it's just me. I'm all you got. So today I'm going to discuss a few things. Namely, I'm going to discuss my guild, the Dauntless Amber Dragons, and a recent guild event that happened, which I don't know what it's called. I don't know if the guild event has a name, but it's essentially a little tournament or challenge thing, where we are challenged in some way, and whoever wins the challenge gets to advance in the brackets of the guild's ranking system. Now, I've been with the Dauntless Amber Dragons since the guild was founded. However, due to some inner guild turmoil and my own incompetence, I have become rank and file member, despite being one of the two oldest members along with the founder. And this event was divided into two different teams. Team 1 was the PvP tournament. We had 4 people in a little bracket, and whoever won the tournament there ranked up. And then we had around 5 people competing in the PvE challenge. Now, the PvE challenge that the guild had was to acquire the most of a certain item. And that item was, I believe, the Barbarian Philosopher's Amulet, or the Barbarian Philosopher's Pendant. I'm looking it up real quick. But whoever got the most of that item from farming, whoever we could find dropped it, got promoted in the guild's ranks. So I looked up one of the mobs that could drop it, and it was the winter worm in Avalon. The Barbarian Philosopher's Mark was the name of the item, and I found out that the winter worm dropped it. Now, this was great news for me, because winter worm is ice, and a relatively easy fight for a shadow wizard, because my max character is a shadow wizard. So I did the fight time and time and time again, and it was whoever could get the most of this item within an hour and a half window. I ended up getting 1 of the Barbarian Philosopher's Marks. That put me in a solid tied for second place with 4 other people. The person who came in first place was a member of our guild named Let me just pull up their name real quick. Let me pull up their name real quick. Sorry, forgot to do a thing before switching back to the game. So I'm switching into the game. The person who won the match was Matthew Skullbreaker, which is his wizard's name, and he won the PvP tournament by a whopping 7 points. He got 7 instances of the Barbarian Philosopher's Mark to drop from the boss he was farming, which he did not tell us. One moment, I just realized I forgot to send out on my socials I'm going live. So let me just send out those I'm going lives real quick. Okay, so I've sent out I'm going live notifications. Now back to the story. He won the tournament. Where did Wizard101 go? I accidentally closed out the window. I'm having a day. But he won the tournament by 7 points. He got 7 instances of the drop, and the rest of us were struggling for the hour and a half to get just 1 instance of the drop. And it's fine. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. Not at all. But the event was real fun. We hung out with our guild and we chatted, we did some PvP. I wasn't that invested in the PvP side of the tournament as in previous streams and videos. I have a rough relationship with PvP. However, I am building a new PvP build. And if you want to see my PvP strats hit the screen, let me know in the chat, or let me know in the comment section of the video when it goes out on my YouTube. But it's fun. But the guildmaster of the Dauntless Amber Dragons approached me and said I couldn't keep just doing Shadow if I want to be in the future raids, because the Azteca raid requires everyone to be doing combat. And there isn't a dedicated support team like there is in the Dragonspire raid. So I set out looking for the gear that I would need to be a viable ice wizard on my shadow wizard. No, of course I didn't. I spent a bunch of crowns and opened a bunch of Burrower's rebellion packs and got myself that gear. Now, I don't know if the Burrower's rebellion gear will work. I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna hope it works. And we'll just see what happens. Another thing let's see, what do we want to talk about, chat? What do we want to talk about today? Let's talk about my Pathfinder game I've been playing. So I've been playing a game of Pathfinder, which is a tabletop role-playing game, similar in vein to Dungeons and Dragons. Pathfinder, especially Pathfinder 1st Edition, which is what I'm playing, is heavily rooted in Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, also known as 3rd and a half edition, but if you call it that, I have lost respect for you as a human being. We're back in the game, so let me just go back to that scene. We should have it. Oh, there. Good. It's back. So, in this campaign, I'm playing a campaign called... I'm playing a campaign called Hell's Rebels. And in the Hell's Rebels campaign, the premise is this. You are in the city of Kintargo, which is a territory of the nation of Cheliax. Cheliax is a mostly human nation that was formerly a theocratic state devoted to the god of humanity, who I think is named... It's not Iomade, it's... I'm looking it up. Eredin. The god of humanity, Eredin. However, when Eredin died, and ongoing trend in Pathfinder is no one knows how Eredin died except the god of the dead herself, and she is not telling anyone. So, Cheliax used to be devoted to Eredin. However, when Eredin died and the theocratic state fell into turmoil, a new religion arose that was at the forefront of Cheliax's governing system. That new religion was the worship of Asmodeus, the god of devils. Now, something you need to know about Pathfinder and D&D and other similarly set campaign settings is that there isn't a singular devil. Devils is a type of creature that is distinctly separate from demons. A devil is a evil creature of law. So it is an ordered, structured, sort of militaristic, lawful, evil being. A demon, on the other hand, is a chaotic evil being, meaning it acts on whim and impulse without a care in the world for anything but its own wants and needs. So, Cheliax worships Asmodeus. Asmodeus is the god of devils. Devils are lawful, evil creatures. This results in a sort of dictatorship rising, led by the head of the church, the Thrun family. One member of the Thrun family, now outraged by this, a bunch of good-aligned countries, particularly very religious ones, organize a crusade to go set Cheliax right. This only causes the Chelaxian government to crack down harder on its rules and its laws and immigration and all that, and oppress its citizens even more. It causes one of the head members of Thrun to take refuge in a thought-safe city of Kintargo. Kintargo doesn't like this, and when he arrives, this event happens called the Night of Ashes, where prominent churches of good, or spots of worship of good-aligned or chaotic-aligned deities are burnt down by Thrun loyalists, and refugees are either hunted down or take refuge with the lawful or evil churches that populate Kintargo. And this is all prequel. The people are restless, Thrun is cracking down, and he comes up with this list of rules that everyone doesn't like. Actually, I can pull up the list of rules, I think. So I'm pulling up the player's guide, the official player's guide for the campaign, which is called Hell's Rebels. And I'm looking to see if I can find the I'm looking to see if I can find the commandments in this book. The set of laws that was put in place. Districts. Ten things about Barzillai Thrun. His name is Barzillai. The proclamations are what they're called, not commandments. So the first proclamation was all slayers of city pests hereby ascribed as doves, mice, and ravens who present said pest to the Dotari, which are sort of like the government policing force of the city, shall be rewarded with a bounty of 1 copper piece. Not so bad so far, right? Proclamation the Second. All places of public business must display in a position of prominence within the first room, accessible from the building's primary entrance, a portrait of Her Infernal Magistrix, Queen Arbogale II. Said portrait must measure no less than 17 by 11 inches. This is getting odd. Proclamation the Third. All those who capture, alive and unharmed, feral dogs of a weight exceeding 50 pounds are to be rewarded with a payment of 2 silver pieces upon transfer of the dogs to the Dotari. Such noble guardian creatures should find homes worthy of their kind. Proclamation the Fourth. The right to wear fine embroidered clothing in public is hereafter prescribed to anyone other than agents of House Thrune or the Holy Church of Igmodius. Exceptions can be awarded or purchased at the city's discretion. What this means is basically, if you aren't part of the church and you aren't a Thrune, you can't wear nice clothes. Likely the punishment for violating this would have been death. Proclamation the Fifth. Grain is life. Should grain be spilled in public, all must be gathered, cleaned, and repackaged within the hour. Any person who allows grain to go ungathered after a spillage shall be fined 1 copper piece per grain. So if you've got rice, they're counting every single grain of rice and charging you a copper piece for that, which is basically $1, maybe $10. I'd say $1. With current inflation, $10. Proclamation the Sixth. The imbibing of night tea brings a dangerous imbalance to the slumbering mind. Between the hours of sunset and sunrise, the taking of tea is prohibited. So, can't drink tea at night. That's illegal, and punishment, if found violated, is death. Proclamation the Seventh. The odor and flavor of mint is an abomination to the refined palate. Be not the cretin. Mint use in candles, drinks, and all manner of confections is hereby prohibited. These are laws. Mint's illegal. No mint. Mint is illegal. It's against the law. I made a joke. Someone went off to violate all these laws. You'd have to wear fancy embroidered clothing, drink mint tea after sunset, while owning a place of business without a picture of Her Infernal Magistrix. Great comedy. That person would die instantly. However, Thrune and his proclamations have gotten everyone reeled down in the dumps. So, you, likely native citizens of Kintargo, or, in my character's case, a In my character's case, a foreigner who's recently come to Kintargo to use their port to travel start up a rebellion, a little resistance, called the Silver Ravens. You make the Silver Ravens, and that's your resistance, your rebellion. And throughout the course of the game, you defy Thrune, Barzillai Thrune, and his proclamations, and bring justice to the people, and all sorts of stuff like that. And that's what the premise of the campaign is. I am a foreigner in these lands. My character is a young, aspiring, snappy paladin from the land of Lastwall who's looking to go to Absalom to join the Pathfinder Society. I'm not going to get there. And on my way, the port's closed down, because Cheliax is closing borders and preventing travel. So I'm stuck in Kintargo, pretty prominent port city. While stuck in Kintargo, I meet up with the rest of a bunch of the players of the party, and we start the Silver Ravens, our rebellion. And we fight against the edicts and laws of Thrune. Let's see, what were some of the first adventures we went on? Well, there was someone stealing teeth and murdering children in the Tiefling district of the city. So we went to investigate, and it turned out there were these pests called Teeth Fairies. Now, the Tooth Fairies in Cheliax are not kind. They have these pliers, and they will rip your teeth out of your skull and leave you to die from bleeding out. Which is what happened to the children. And we fought them, and all sorts of stuff happened. It's a long story. And I'm going to do my best to recount some key moments from the adventure. One time, we were sent to a warehouse to find some people that have been kidnapped. Some kidnapped peoples. And I couldn't get in, because the rest of the party was quick and agile and snuck through a hole in the fence. I am a big, heavily armored paladin. I could not fit. So I had to walk all the way around the facility. The party had rescued the people and got them out there by the time I walked in the front gate. The guards were alerted to the alarm and were running, but I intercepted the guards on their way to where my party was, and was like, I'm gonna break you a deal. Thrune, he's not in it for you. He's in it for himself. He says he wants to make Cheliax great, but all he wants to make great is his pocketbook. Now, you can keep being a loyal lapdog to Thrune, or you can join the Silver Ravens, and we can help you, help yourselves, be free of this tyrant. And I rolled a nat 20 on my diplomacy check. And diplomacy is sort of like persuasion, if you're only familiar with 5th edition. Diplomacy is more or less persuasion. And they bought it. And I also had a plus 12 to my diplomacy at the time, because a mixture of traits I took in building my race. My character's really designed to be more of a pacifist than anything. So... Oh, my eyes hurt for some reason. So... I recruited the force we were fighting against into the rebellion. Now, another funny instance... Another time I recruited someone that was kind of obviously pro-Thrune into the Resistance, and it didn't work as well as this time, was a typical recruiting mission. My character is the guild's recruiter. I am in charge of morale and recruiting and all that because I'm a big diplomacy person. So I went out to recruit someone, and there was someone with an I Love Thrune painted shirt. It was like I Love Thrune t-shirt, but not embroidered, it was painted. So this posed a problem. And the problem it posed was kind of simple. It was that, well, the guy had the t-shirt. I walked up to him and say, "Are you unhappy with Thrune's rule?" And he was sipping his tea and looked up and was like, "What?" I said, "Are you unhappy with Thrune's rule?" He says, "Yes." "Well, then have I got the club for you?" And I hand this guy wearing the I Love Thrune t-shirt the card to the Silver Ravens. He's like, I got ya. I'm like, if you know anyone who wants to rise up, let him know. He turned us into the Dotari. Fortunately, our headquarters were hidden well enough that the Dotari didn't find any evidence we were actually there, and then he was executed for lying to the Dotari. Not my best moment. Another time something interesting was happening was there was this tavern, and the owner was really grumpy. He wasn't getting a lot of good sleep at night, and he was being problematic. And we wanted the tavern's aid in the Resistance. So we go up, and it turns out the thing keeping him from getting a good night's sleep, also causing all these riots and brawls that are happening in the tavern itself, there was a fairy dragon messing around with people, putting little bewitchments and enchantments on people, keeping the tavern owner from sleeping all the time. Just outright being a nuisance. And that was a fun little encounter. We managed to recruit the fairy dragon into the Silver Ravens. Another fun encounter is when we first got our first headquarters, it was occupied by some corvids? I forget what they're called. These raven folk. And they were like really hesitant. It was framed to be a typical combat encounter. But I managed to talk them out of fighting us, let us have their lean-to for survival for our headquarters, and got them to join the Silver Ravens. It was a series of 5 diplomacy checks, all of which I totally aced really well. And that was a little fun encounter I had while I was playing the campaign. Another fun story was when... Let's see, what's a good story from the campaign? Oh, there was this one time we thought we had a spy in the Silver Ravens. We thought we had a spy in our rebellion. So, we found the person we thought was a spy and followed them. Turns out, they had an imp that had bewitched them. And with that bewitched imp, we managed to face off against it, and I swear this imp is my nemesis. We were fighting the imp in the basement near our headquarters when the imp looks at me and casts a spell called Suggestion. And Suggestion is essentially, you suggest a course of action to whoever you're casting it on, and if they fail their save, they have to do it. And what she suggested was, it's looking really hot in here. I think you should take off your armor. Now, if you're not familiar with the rules for donning and doffing armor in Pathfinder, it's rough. Putting on armor takes a lot less time than taking it off does. Taking off armor takes an in-game hour. Each turn in combat, each round, is 6 seconds. So, I was enchanted to take off my armor until that task was completed. I was out of the fight. Just completely out of the fight. They couldn't really... I couldn't do anything. My party couldn't do anything to help me knock myself out of it. So, lots of instances of me not being in the fight. Now, at one point, Barzillai Thrune, institutes a new punishment for anyone who violates the commandments, or the proclamations. Instead of just simply death, they will do something to you called doghousing. Now, big trigger warning here. Big trigger warning. What doghousing is in the game, in the context of Pathfinder, what it is you take the person and you nail them into a doghouse that has a bunch of nails poking around on the inside. So they have to be really careful not to move around at all, or else they'll get stabbed by nails. And then you put that doghouse in a pen with a bunch of really hungry dogs. It doesn't go well. It's a very brutal, very savage form of execution, and it's really emotional. We were tasked with saving some people from being doghoused. So we did. We saved them. We did our best. However, it was just sort of kind of sick. There were crowds gathered cheering for the death of the people who had offended Thrune. And I hated it. It was not pleasant. Most recently, we outgrew our old headquarters, so we needed to find a new headquarters. So we hear about this old rundown gambling house called the Lucky Bones. What level are we? Oh, 12, nice. The old gambling house that was taken down by an order of knights called the Order of the Torrent. Because the gambling house was actually a secret cover for a slave trading ring. That's not Riverclaw Guard, that's Royal Guard. An illegal one at that. So, we went to where this place was supposedly, and we Oh, my brain. My head is killing me. I think I've just blarg. So we go down into the cellar beneath this old closed down coffee shop because supposedly the gambling house is in the cellar there. And what do we find there? Except not a gambling house, a little trash heap with these little tiny baby creatures in the trash heap that are baby Odiugs. Now my character, being a sort of pacifist-y character, who believes all life, not demons, not devils, not undead, is sacred, didn't want to hurt them. And they weren't being hostile. But the party attacks them, and our DM goes out of his way to describe the sad sounds the Odiugs are making. And to be fair, Odiugs are disease-carrying creatures. They don't actively attack you, but they can ruin a city if they're in their sewers. So it was probably a good idea to kill them. But I was devastated by my party killing the baby Odiugs. And it was just sort of sad all around. And then we went further into the dungeon, and we met these people who all unleashed a barrage of wands of paralysis at us. Not fun, we took care of them. And went a bit further, and there was a demon at an office. Smote that demon, it ran away. Later, we encountered the demon again. It's still under the effects of my smite, so finishing it off was rather easy. I don't know. It's a fun campaign, and I'm loving telling stories about it. But the more stories I tell, the less I have to tell. So let's talk about a different D&D campaign I did. Was in. This one is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, not Pathfinder. And, this was a few years ago. I used to work at a game store, and I ran D&D there as part of my job. For a bunch of kids, for some children. I'm running out of things to talk about, and also I've got a headache, so if we only had chatters that could engage. Blah. I think I might call it once we hit the hour mark. Updated the stream just so the title will scan. After this, I think I might call it. I'm not feeling too well, chat. I'm not feeling the best. My head hurts, my eyes hurt. I'm sorry, chat. It's my head. My head just doesn't feel too good. Might have been overdoing it lately. I don't know if I'll be able to stream tomorrow, chat, but I might. I might. Keep your eye out. Or eyes, if you have more than one. I don't know. Keep your eyes out. I might stream tomorrow. If I do, it'll likely be around 10 Central, same time I usually stream. But if I don't, I don't know. I've just not been doing too hot. Maybe we should read old stories. I've got a compilation of original Grimm fairy tales around here. And I can just read Grimm fairy tales to you guys, chat. I think I might do that. It'll give me things to talk about, it'll give me things to say. And we're already at the 50-minute mark on the video. Let's talk to Thomas Cromgill. So let's exit here. Nope. So I think this is where I'll leave you, chat. I'm sorry it was a short stream today. I'm sorry we didn't get all I promised to accomplish done. But I do hope we get more done in the future. I hope this is the start of a good future. Thank you, and good night.